I one time lived on a commercial salmon fishing boat for a summer.
Did you stab anyone? Did you do anything crazy?
No stabbing, but the captain, he was a dick. He would always talk about how fucking horny he was because he hadn't been around women because, it's just us three dudes on the boat at the time.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's your name, sir?
My name is Casey.
Casey, how you doing? How's life?
I'm doing pretty good. On my lunch break, eating some pho. It's like microwavable pho.
I love pho.
Just chilling.
Just
Yeah,
chilling?
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Listen, man, here's the thing. Today, I'm happy to just chit-chat about whatever, but if you had a thing that you wanted to call in to talk about, we could do that as well. What are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I kind of just called spur of the moment.
Okay.
There's been multiple times where I'm like, oh, I want to call because I have this to talk about, but I'm just kind of, on my lunch break, just hanging out. Was there anything on your mind?
Well, let's do this,
talk
man.
about?
What last time that you were like, okay, I have this thing I want to talk about. What was that thing?
Well, so there's a couple things. I could either, and I'll let you decide what you think sounds more interesting, because they're equally interesting to me. I one time lived on a commercial salmon fishing boat for a summer, which in Alaska, and we lived on the boat on the water for like 6 weeks, which was interesting. And I have some fun stories from that. And then I'm also kind of in the midst of figuring out what I'm going to do for grad school.
Yeah.
So that's also been something that's on my mind. So what sounds more interesting to you?
So you were on a salmon fishing boat for 6 months?
Yeah. Yeah.
And where was this boat located? Like where in the ocean?
So it was, it's Bristol Bay, Alaska.
Bristol Bay, Alaska. I always wanted to go to Alaska. I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
Man, let me tell you, it is a weird, very, very strange place. We didn't really spend much time in like the populated areas. So what we did was we got there around the beginning of June, and we flew into Anchorage and immediately got on a super small plane where we got to this point called St. Petersburg, and it's literally like, I think there's less than 50 people that live there year round, and like during the summer when there's a bunch of different people there's like probably 200 to 300 people just all at this like port essentially. And there are places where the fishermen live. There's like 4 or 5 different quarters. And then other than that, it's just like, it's funny, it's a lot of convicts that come in because they work at the cannery usually. Instead of like having them rot in a cell or something, they fly them out and they work in the canneries where they like can the fish that comes in. And there was actually a stabbing in one of the quarters the year before I was there. It's a very chaotic place, for sure.
Did you get into any trouble while you were on the boat? Did you stab anyone? Did you do anything crazy?
No stabbing. While on land, it was mostly just a bunch of heavy drinking, and waking up, putting Baileys in coffee, and getting the boat prepared. And then, so we lived on land for like 3 weeks, getting the boat prepared, ready to go out to sea. And that was basically like getting everything painted, like working on the engine and working on all the maintenance that needed to be done for it. And then after living on land for like 2.5 weeks, then we went out to the water and we spent like 5 weeks on the water.
Wow. 5 weeks on the water. How many people are on this boat?
So that's the thing. It was for like 2 weeks, it was 4 of us. And then the last 3.5 weeks, it was 3 of us. It's a super small boat.
And for 5, and you live in like little bunk beds and stuff?
Dude, yeah, it is like the smallest bed like I've ever slept on. It was quite miserable. Yeah, super, super, super tight quarters. We all, like, it was basically on the end of the boat, like, you know how a boat, it kind of, at the front, it kind of curves up so it, like, you know, functions on the water. Where you're basically in that point, and the beds are kind of diagonalized going to the end of the boat. It's kind of hard to explain, but point is very small.
And tell me about the other guys. Did you get along with them, or was there conflict on the boat?
Yeah, so how I actually got the job was my buddy. I was doing undergrad at the time, and my buddy just texted in the group chat. He was like, "Hey, my mom's friend's husband needs somebody to come out to Alaska for the summer and work on his boat with him, and catch some salmon." And he just texted it in the group chat, and it was like piranhas fighting for food. Like, everybody snapped on it, but I was the first one to respond. And so Parker connected me, or his name was Parker, connected me to the guy that was the captain of the boat. And so Parker and I were super close. We were really good friends. But the captain, his name was Dale. He was a dick. He was honestly insufferable a lot of time.
What was it that made Dale a dick?
Let's see. He so when you're a commercial fisherman and you spend I think Alaska does weird things to people living out there for a long time because they have such little contact, and the only people they're around are other sweaty, pissy fishermen. So, no, you're good. He had a really terrible attitude. He was a yeller. Like, he was really power tripping over the fact that it was his boat. He was the captain. So there was a lot of power tripping going on, and he would always talk about how fucking horny he was because he hadn't been around women, because, you know, it's just us three dudes on the boat at the time. So it just a lot of uncomfortable talking points, power tripping, yelling all the time. We were always having to cook for him and shit. He was just a power tripping asshole.
This does bring up an interesting question. What's the masturbation situation looking like on this boat? Are we just abstaining for the 5 weeks, or are you kind of picking your spots? Or are you doing it just straight up into the ocean?
So it's pretty much nil while you're on the boat. So a lot of nutless aggravation, you know? Nut deprived aggravation for sure.
5 weeks,
you know,
no nutting.
Extends to the whole crew. Pretty much. We did go back on land. We went back on land like 3.5 weeks in, I want to say, and then we went back out for another week and a half. So I think everybody got a nut in during that, but other than that, yeah, pretty much nothing.
And was that did that add to the general vibe of frustration amongst the gang?
I definitely think so. Yeah, definitely. There was a lot of yelling, a lot of arguing. That definitely contributed. And there was also, like, I'll tell you the schedule because it really puts things into context of
Please.
like what this job is like. So when you're on the boat, basically any time that you're allowed to fish, you have to fish, because when you're not fishing, you're not making money, essentially, because all of your money is based off how much fish you catch, right? So the fishing periods were like 8-hour times. So here would be like an average day. Wake up at 2 a.m., make oatmeal, make coffee, Dale, the captain, would start driving the boat driving from the anchorage where we anchor down out to where we're going to go fish for the day. That takes about like 45 minutes to an hour. We get where we're going to fish. It's 3 a.m. We roll out the net and we start fishing, essentially. And we fish for about 6 hours. So then it would hit about 9 a.m., say. After that, we get all our fish into the bins. We drive back to the anchorage, take all of our fish and drop it off to the tender boat, which takes all the fish from the small boats and gets it weighed out and processed. That takes about an hour. So at this point, it's about like 10:30 probably. And then after that, we go anchor up. You have to scrub the entire deck. Otherwise, it smells like, you know, one of the worst smells you can imagine. Like, you have to scrub it after every time you fish. Otherwise, it's just going to be like, you can't be out there for too long. So that takes about 30 minutes. And so then, you know, you have like essentially 45 minutes to eat and just like do whatever you want to do in your free time. And then you have about 2 to 3 hours to sleep depending on the day. And then the next session starts at around like, you know, 1 or 2 p.m.
So
and then you do that all over again until like, you know, 1, 2 a.m.
So you break up your sleep scheduling.
Yep. Yeah, it's like 2 hours.
Blocks.
Right, into blocks of like 2 hours, yeah.
That sounds like hell. How did you like feel during this time?
I was, that was the, like, it probably sounds cliche, but I genuinely think that was the first time I've ever felt myself kind of like slipping mentally. I did actually, near the end, I had some like hallucinations in the water.
Whoa.
Which was crazy because I've never had, you know, visuals like, you know, not coming out of, you know, my brain processing what's in front of me, you know, besides like tripping balls, you know. So that was very strange. And yeah, I think the only thing that really got me through it was in my free time, I was reading The Myth of Sisyphus, if you've ever heard of that book.
What is that?
It's a philosophy book. I first really I was into philosophy as an undergrad originally, but I brought this book with me. And since there's no service or anything, there's nothing you can really do besides, you know, read or, you know, do jack shit. So basically reading in my free time, that book got me through it. But it was, I did feel myself going insane, and that level of exhaustion definitely also contributed to the tension between the crewmates.
And what did you learn from the myth of Sisyphus?
Well, it's not the founding book of absurdism, but it's like, it's canon, you know, it's a very important work in the idea of absurdism. And I don't know, it before this, I was having a hard time wrestling with, you know, what a lot of people wrestle with on this podcast, the meaning of life, you know, that type of stuff. But I think after reading that book, I think the biggest takeaway I took from it was that, like, the insignificance of our existence is not something to be upset about, but it's something to be taken advantage of, because the impact or the lack of impact that we're actually leaving on the world gives us the freedom to take advantage of that insignificance and do what we think we want to do. And, you know, that's not an excuse to dick around and do nothing, but it's like, it's a good motivator for me personally to go out and do shit that I'm passionate about, so now I'm like trying to go for my PhD for math, which I never would have saw myself doing. But after the fishing trip and after reading that book, I kind of realized like, hey, I like math. Why don't I do it for school instead of, fucking around in a business degree where I have no interest? And now I want to go for my PhD. So it helped me figure out what I wanted to do for sure.
First of all, congratulations. That's awesome. But second of all, how lucky did you get that your passion was math? Oh my God. Some people are like, my passion is to become a fucking Call of Duty live streamer or something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's how lucky did you get that your passion was math? Like, so how lucky did you get that your passion was like something tangible that you can actually do something productive with? You know what I mean?
Yes, and I mean, I think more people could find a passion in something like that, like I guess what you say, tangible. But I think it's really hard to unlock that with the way that we're educated now. I think people have a lot more potential in education that they just can't see because it's not unlocked in the proper way. Because nobody fucking likes math in high school. I hated math in high school. Mm-hmm. I got a dog shit education in math in high school. And so I think that's part of it as well. But yeah, I definitely got lucky that I'm very glad that I enjoy it. It's fun. Funnily enough, though, I am in the part of math that's called pure math. It's pretty much, it's about as applicable to life as philosophy itself, which, there's a threshold. It's basically just Greek. It's like writing proofs. It's just like Greek letters that mean absolutely nothing to the context of our actual, real world experience, but I still enjoy it. So
pure math, you say?
Yeah, pure math.
Mm-hmm. And it's you're writing proofs, as in you're like, okay, I'm gonna prove to you without any shadow of a doubt that 2 + 2 = 4 kind of shit.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's insane. How do you prove that? That's just like something that is,
It's so the most obvious stuff is actually the hardest stuff to prove. I think the widely accepted proof for 1 + 1 = 2, like completely rigorous and logical and 100% without any holes. It's I think it's 36 pages actually. It's
really
massive.
Okay. So you can break that down even further.
Yes, it's so non-intuitive. The easiest stuff to prove is the stuff that you learn later on in your high school or middle school education in math. The hardest shit to prove is the shit that you teach the young kids.
It's so crazy. God, that's so fucked up.
It's mind-blowing.
God, that's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. There is, what's funny is, you're talking about, and God damn it, I have roped myself in once again to getting existential, but it's what I'm having fun with it right now. Is you're talking about insignificance and whatever. It's there is so much to grasp in the world, and at a certain point you must accept that you cannot grasp it all.
Absolutely.
And I think once you accept that and you just enjoy whatever it is, you enjoy your little bite of apple that you get if you're lucky as a human being, is probably where you find the most happiness,
100%.
Because, I mean, just the knowledge that there's 36 pages of proof involved to prove that 1 + 1 = 2, I mean, there's just infinite all things, and that's just the stuff that we know. Then there's the stuff that we don't know that's infinite, and it's God damn, do I just want to play Mario Kart and jack off and, not think about any of this stuff, or just... I mean, I have this. I'm bringing this back to me. I don't know why, but this is just what I'm thinking about. It's I have this this podcast is very interesting to me because it's been a vessel for me of like, I want to suck up the whole world. I want to get to talk to as many people as possible, go as many places as possible, experience as much as possible. But, I mean, it's weird. There's no end. You know, it just keeps going. And once you, when you're trying to find finality or something like that, it kind of makes you go crazy, right? You have to just accept what there is. Yeah.
Yep. That's a lot of what absurdism is about, for sure.
Yeah.
Instead of, whining like a little bitch about it, just sucking it up and admitting that it actually, look at it, cliche enough, it is kind of looking on the brighter side of that, terrifying and abysmal fact of life.
What's your name again?
I definitely recommend Casey.
Casey, how old are you, Casey? I'm curious. What stage of life are you
I'm
in?
23.
23, very cool. Very nice.
Yeah.
That's nice that you've made peace with all this stuff pretty early in your life.
Yeah, shout out drugs. That definitely helped a lot, too.
Which ones?
Psychedelics, mostly.
So it's funny.
I quit smoking weed a while ago, but...
It's funny to me because I psychedelics, right? Like, I would think,
I actually have to stop you.
Go ahead.
My lunch break is actually over.
Oh, shit.
I really enjoyed this conversation, though.
I enjoyed this conversation with you, too. Okay, yeah, we'll part 2 this.
Yes, we will come back for sure. I'm going to try to get on again and keep doing what you're doing with the podcast, bro. I love it.
All right, thanks,
to it
man.
On my way home from work every day.
Thanks, man. Good luck. Have a good day at work.
Yeah, you too. Have a good rest of the podcast. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care,
hopefully.
man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What a bummer. I liked talking to that guy a lot. That was great. I guess to finish what I was going to say is that it's funny. Psychedelics are an interesting thing to me because they the whole selling point is that they are supposed to expand consciousness. But for me personally, I'm like, it's interesting to hear that they helped this guy solve his existentialism, because for me, I'm like, isn't like you want to be less conscious, don't you? Isn't the whole point to be a little bit less conscious? Like, I feel it's correct. You know what? Tell me, folks, in the comments section on the Spotify or YouTube, what you think of this. I'm curious what people think about this, because I think I read this quote from someone. I don't know if like someone fucking famous said this or if this is just something I read on Reddit in my crazy musings. Is that if ignorance is bliss, then clarity is misery. And I kind of felt that a little bit. So it's like the expansion of consciousness seems counterintuitive to happiness, although everyone is wired a little differently, I mean, the happiest I think human beings are is when they're the least conscious, is when they're just, in life, when you are present and where you are. I was at dinner with friends last night, and I was just having like crazy anxiety, and I was on my phone, and I was in my notes app, and I was on Instagram, and I was just fucking like it was just like trying to find answers everywhere except where you fucking are. And I do think there's something to that, because anxiety, at least for me, is a sign that you're living your present moment is kind of out of sync with your desires in a way. But you got to kind of balance that with, like, if you need to fulfill every single desire all the time, then you're just gonna suffer, But it's a balancing act, because I talk about this on the fucking show a lot. Is like there's a weird balancing act between the internal and the external of like, okay, how much of anxiety is going to be solved by like internal acceptance and breathing or whatever versus, oh no, there's actually stuff going on in your life that you need to like change or you know, you can actually like how much can you capitalism yourself? How much can you capitalism yourself out of anxiety or depression? And I'm not even talking about like money. I'm talking about like by like doing stuff, by making things or making changes externally versus like, okay, I need to breathe. I need to fucking do whatever. And I don't know, if I knew, I wouldn't be ranting crazy about it on a podcast, but whatever. Interesting things to talk about. I liked that guy. That guy was cool. That guy was interesting fella. I gotta go to Alaska. I gotta see what's going on over there. Hello?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, sir?
Nothing much. I was calling. I was like, finally, I got on. But, yeah, life's been pretty decent as of late, I think. How about yourself, if you mind me asking?
Yeah, sure. Life's been interesting. I mean, doing things like this that kind of keep you, like, in the present is good.
Yeah. Yeah, that flow state.
Yeah, the flow state. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll get that.
What's going on with you? What's happening in your life?
Well, so I recently went to California this weekend. So, yeah, that was pretty fun. I went to Rolling Loud, you know, that, like, festival?
Yeah, how was that?
That was very, like, anxiety-inducing just because of, like, yeah, the crowds. I realized I really hate crowds. But
you didn't get Astro Worlded, did you?
Oh no, luckily not. Yeah, but it was getting bad at like when Playboy Cardi was playing. They had to like stop for like 20 minutes, and then like Kai Cenat was on stage. He was yelling at us to like back up because like 10 people passed out. But yeah, it gets crazy sometimes. But no Astro World, luckily.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
What else is going on in life?
Well, I think I did want to talk about a story. Because it was about, I guess, me dislocating my thumb in a mosh pit, and it kind of, I guess, taught me gratitude and patience.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I guess, the long story short, so I went to my first, so do you know the Auto Bar in Baltimore? So I'm originally from Maryland.
Fuck yeah, I did a show there. I love Auto Bar.
Yeah, I saw you there. So
cool.
I went to my first hardcore show, which was like a couple of years ago. And yeah, I got into the pit. It was like the first band playing. And then, someone leaned, my thumb got stuck in someone's shirt, and then it leaned back and like I heard a crack. I popped it back in place. I was like, we're good. It's still moving. So I was like, let's go. We're good. So I kept going. Turns out I tore like a whole ligament in my thumb. This is my dominant hand, mind you. And then I realized I had to get surgery. So then I got surgery on my right hand, and I was in a cast, I think for like 2 months. So I had to like learn everything with my left hand. I had to learn how to brush my teeth. And I'm also an artist too, so I had to learn to draw with my left hand for those 2 months. I had to find out how to do work for 2 months. I don't know, I think that time, it kind of like taught me to just like really slow down, especially like just the simple act of like brushing your teeth with like your left hand. It's so difficult if it's like not your dominant hand, because you're not usually thinking about it, doing it mindlessly. But like now I actually have to like learn how to do that circular motion, do everything like that. But yeah, doing artwork as well kind of like slowed down a lot. Like I actually was like more, I guess, what's that word? I guess, decisive with my movements, and more like, I think more decisive with it, and had like a better, like mythology of going about it and stuff like that. But yeah, it was kind of weird, a weird situation, because it was like I do everything with my right hand. I do everything just mindlessly a lot, and this kind of taught me like, whoa, just because of how uncoordinated I was with my left hand. I kind of learned to just like, yeah, kind of be with the flow of things and kind of adjust to those things and being okay with it, even if I kind of like suck at it. So yeah.
And how long was your right hand out of commission?
So yeah, 2 months in a cast, and then I had physical therapy. So it was about like 3 months, but I think those 3 months were really good because I was like really grateful for like the times I do have two hands, because having one hand kind of sucks. So I kind of feel bad. Well, I feel really bad for people with one hand or no hands. But yeah, having that one hand kind of, put things in perspective a lot. It made me kind of, very slow down. I think the main thing was like slow down with a lot of stuff. Yeah.
What was the hardest thing to learn with your left hand?
Ooh, so I have this big dog. I have a dog. She's an Akita. She's like 80 pounds. That was kind of hard to like walk her. So I had this leash. I got this leash, like it's basically kind of like the Avatar leash, like basically connected to me. So it's like a leash that goes across my body, and then she's just connected to me like that. But other than that, I think what else was really hard? Opening things. Oh, opening things was awful. I couldn't open things. And that was really hard. Yeah, I think it was like those daily things. Taking a shower was really difficult. It was very difficult because you can't get your cast wet or any of that wet. Yeah, I like the day-to-day stuff. Very difficult.
And so how long ago was this?
This was 2022 going into 2023. So it's been basically almost a year since the surgery. Well, it's been a year since the surgery. Oh, no, not 2023. No, 2023 going into 2024. So yeah, like a year.
So because here's the thing about like epiphanies, I notice a lot is that they're not one and done things. They're kind of things you have to remind yourself of. And so, do you feel like that gratefulness and that awareness has stayed with you throughout this?
See, that's hard too. Yeah, so that's what sometimes I do definitely like just get back into like the mindless stroll of things. I think, it's really hard to kind of always remain and remember that, I guess that finite thing of like that impermanence of everything, and that you need to just enjoy and be grateful for those simple things, like that, going back to just brushing your teeth. You take those things for granted. So I don't know, I kind of sometimes, I guess there's those times when I like, I might have an epiphany off of like mushrooms again. I'm like, I need to go back to the simplistic thing. And then sometimes I just lose that strain of thought and I just get caught into the thick of it and stuff like that. But I don't know, I think what helps me a lot, I do a lot of like yoga, which puts me into that framework of like being there in that moment and just breathing. So I feel like those kind of revert back to those times of like when I had that one hand and I was basically crippled to the degree I just had that one hand to do everything and had to focus on that activity I was usually doing that I thought usually with two hands wasn't important and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's really like a roller coaster effect. I feel like there's always those highs and lows of like figuring it out, remaining in that state. I don't know, I don't think we should be like, I think we should treat ourselves with grace too when we do forget about that stuff as well. Because that we're just human, we're just learning, growing, failing, succeeding,
So what's going on with you now that you have two hands? What are you doing with your hands? Plural.
I'm grabbing so many things. So I guess what I'm doing, I like to like be outside a lot, so, and like just work out. I do Muay Thai a lot. That's fun.
You do
just,
Muay Thai?
Combat sports and stuff like. Yeah, Muay Thai is really fun.
You're really out there trying to fuck up your hand again. You're like, I didn't get injured hard enough in the mosh pit. I need to fuck up myself even more.
Exactly. I think I like those like high stake things. I don't know if that's like dangerous, but YOLO. But I do go back to the pits and stuff like that. Way more safer. Keeping my hands like away from like clothing and people sometimes and stuff like that. But I've been using my hands a lot. I think I've been creating a lot, like art. I said I was an artist, so now I know how to use both of my hands with art. So that's like been like really cool, actually. That's been really fun. Yeah. You know, what's your favorite thing to do with two hands?
What's my favorite thing to do with two hands? I guess fucking play video games. That's probably the.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've thought about whether I would be whether I would. Would you rather have no hands or no feet? I feel like I feel like I'll take no feet, right?
Yeah, no, because you can't walk.
Yeah, but you could use a wheelchair.
Fun. That's true.
There's so many things to do with your hands.
But a lot of places aren't like wheelchair accessible either. Like, what if there's like a stairs and you're fucked? You know?
Yeah, but what if you have to? What if there's a door and you got to open it? Then you're really fucked.
Ooh, you can use your mouth, or you can use your feet too. You know?
Yeah. I guess you would have to learn how to use your feet. Yeah. I feel like I feel like a wimp a lot of the times. I feel like I'm like, oh, I only have the strength for like you ever feel that way? You're like, I don't feel like I have the strength for like tons and tons of adversity. But yet you see, yet you know, out there exists tons and tons of adversity, and people are doing it. Yeah. People are getting themselves through adversity. You know, that's one of my problems. Is I often feel as though I don't have the strength to overcome adversity, which is hard because I think life just throws adversity around in a way that doesn't really care who you are or what the fuck, if you've experienced it before or not, you know?
Yeah, life doesn't give a shit. Going back to that, there is that guy that has like no limbs at all, but he climbs mountains. I saw something. Yeah, he climbed like one of the tallest mountains in Africa or something.
Yeah.
And he has no arms or legs. But yeah, going back to like adversity, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like, how do you come up to the plate for it? A lot of the times, but most of the times we don't, and I think that's okay too, because it's like, I don't know, we learn from that adversity even though we might have not came to the challenge to it and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that guy. Well, there's a lot of. I mean, that guy's doing pretty good, but I also think about all the people who don't have arms and legs who are like, man, this is not. I don't like this.
Yeah, that's true too. Damn. Yeah, life can be like that.
Well,
I realize.
I guess you know what, you're making me feel grateful to have arms and legs, which is exactly. I think honestly probably the baseline to wake up every day with is just grateful you have arms and legs.
No, for sure. But definitely try doing stuff with your opposite hand though. It definitely puts you into like perspective, and it keeps you, because you were talking about presence a lot. You talk about that flow state. It gives you that presence, I feel like, because you're actually going to have to focus on the task you're doing, even though, because most of the time we do it mindlessly with that dominant hand or something like that. But yeah, I feel like everyone, even chat or anyone that might listen to this, yeah, try to do things that you're not usually comfortable with. And that can be simple things, because it kind of, puts those things in perspective, you know.
What's your name again, sir?
Oh, I went by Poop, but...
Poop.
I go by Ren. Yeah, but I did call you with flying low just at one time, and I was so nervous, and I really wanted to call back, and I think it went way better because I actually knew what to talk about. But yeah, you know, shit happens, and then we're here again. So yeah.
Poop. Is there anything else you want to say to the people at the computer before we go?
Stay yourself, guys. Do what you love, and yeah. Love you, Gecko.
Thank you, Poop. You have a good rest of the night.
All right.
Good luck to you, sir.
All right. You too.
Yeah, this is why I don't like doing. I'm okay with like embarrassing myself, but I don't like putting myself out there like physically. Like I have no interest in skydiving or skateboarding or anything where you can like really fuck yourself up. But I have respect for people who do that. Hello?
Hey.
Hey, what's up? What's your name?
My name's Graciana. We've talked once before.
Graciana. How long ago did we talk?
It was like when when COVID was a thing that everyone was we were all hiding from. Well, some of us were hiding from.
Okay, so a while ago.
Yeah. The last subject we talked about, I was explaining how I had my first kid at 15 and my next one at 22 and the difference between the two. And
oh, shit. Well,
and all that.
How are they doing? How are the kids?
Oh, that's a complicated. Listen, kids. My 3-year-old, he changes every day, if not every week, if not like every month, and he's a little easier because he's 3 in the way of he can't talk that much. My 11-year-old, she's on this whole discovering herself and questioning life, and I mean, some stuff is going on there for sure that's kind of terrifying in the way of she obviously has depression, and she's made it clear that she's asking for help.
And she's 11?
Yeah, she's 11, dude.
Oh, man. So how do you... I've been thinking... it's funny. So I don't think I'm going to have kids for a while, but I know that I want to eventually. And I was thinking about that. I was like, how if... this might be a negative viewpoint, but it's like... I think having kids can introduce a lot of joy in your life, but also a lot of suffering because whatever you take, whatever they have, that's kind of part of your job. I think is if your kid is suffering, you kind of have to, be in that suffering with them to help. You got to dive into the black pit to help get them out of there, and you got to go in there. What is it? Is that accurate? Do you feel that way?
I feel a lot I think that we feel a lot of the same in that way. Although, when I got pregnant at 15, I thought it was going to be a beautiful, wonderful thing. Obviously, I was a fucking kid, right? But and then as I got older, and then having my newest boy, I'm realizing that I have a lot. I stopped. I essentially stopped at 15, kind of discovering myself and all that. So I encourage people to just kind of enjoy themselves, get to know themselves, because yes, having a kid, it has given me a lot of joy and perspective, but it is also really hard. And it's at sometimes, currently, I feel with my 11-year-old, it's kind of you're, you don't know if you're going to get a thank you in the end for all of the actual sacrifices that you do make in just mentally and physically and just all the stuff, the fucking doctor visits, it's you caring for a whole other person. And also I knew after a while that I'm essentially teaching her what life is going to be like. Everything that I give her, she's watching me, how I handle things. That's how she's going to handle things.
Right. Yeah. You're giving her the context of life.
Yeah. And I feel I was 15 when I had her, and so it wasn't the prettiest scene, it really wasn't. I mean, granted, I don't it wasn't I don't know. Me and my partner are both 15, so it was like two kids that all of a sudden moved in together, and like my family was falling apart. So then I all of a sudden was like adopted by his mom with my brothers, and so it's just like, to a certain extent, I understand why it was so hard because I was fucking 15, and so like it wasn't about, oh, I should be not crying in the closet and like sad all the time. Like I should be, I don't know, trying to do things and paying more attention, and I don't know, dude. I think having kids is a beautiful thing, but I also feel like it's not what they told us,
Are you still with you're still with the guy that you had the kid with?
Not my 11-year-old.
Okay.
I'm with a new partner, and he's the father of my 3-year-old.
Ah, okay. And how is he? Because I feel like that is because this is really feels like something you kind of can't do alone. It feels like something that you gotta have the right person to do it with.
Absolutely, and that is something that I really, really advocate for. I'm like you just want to, how they say you like want to vet someone, kind of like you kind of want to vet someone in the way of how are they going to be in a tough situation if your kid like is crying and it's been fucking hours and you're both sleep deprived and like you're irritated obviously and they're irritated. How are they going to handle it? Or like, I don't know. It's how do they take care of you and pick up the house, and how does your guys' relationship kind of like feel together, and because it's once you have a kid, it's balancing your relationship with this person and then also having a child together and being a family.
Right.
It's a mixed bag. Patience and really getting to know that person a little bit.
And how's your new partner doing with all that?
He's been great. He really, sometimes I get worried that I don't know, because my last relationship was so, it wasn't the sweetest at times. So I was kind of, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of hard sometimes in the way of like, I don't know, I get scared of keeping things to myself, so I'll just like say what I'm thinking or whatever. Not like negative stuff, but like, I don't know. I'm pretty open about if I think someone's pretty or not, and I think that sometimes kind of affects like how he feels sometimes, and I feel kind of like,
well, if you say like another girl is pretty,
or like a guy or something, but yeah, girls too.
Sure. Well, you have a buzzing in the background. What is that?
That is my sister trying to call me. She likes to call me every day.
Oh, that's nice. Do you have a good relationship with your sister? Or I guess not good enough that you're gonna hang up on me to talk to her, but is it good?
Yeah, I mean, I love her. She's younger. She's actually my last partner's sister. Like I moved in with them at 15 basically, and he had 3-2. No, I think it was 2 at the time, 2 brothers and then a sister. Because
so this is like your ex-sister-in-law, but you just call her your sister.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me see here. Let me think. Well, I guess I'll ask you this before we go. I guess so on the let's do this on the topic of self-discovery and whatnot. Do you feel as though you have been able to do any self-discovery lately, and if so, have you learned anything?
Definitely. So something that really started like kickstarting everything is I started just going to, like, immediately after I graduated high school, my teacher was telling me go to college. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And I went to College of the Redwoods, shout out. And I loved every English teacher. I loved just like how we would like dissect things. And then that made me really think and keep thinking in the way of like, I don't know, just like life. And I feel like no one that I was around was really thinking that way. And so it just kind of kept watering this, well, what do I think? And what would I like to do? And what do I enjoy? And hey, this book is actually really interesting, and like things like that. And then like also attending parenting classes and things. Like I try to attend every parenting class that I can find, just because it even though they kind of like talk about the same stuff, it's the other parents that are in there that really help and just make you like feel connected and think and learn new ways and feel like we're all just kind of figuring it out.
Well, I appreciate this perspective. This is a good perspective to have, because I think when I imagine life ahead, you always imagine that everything's going to be awesome, and you kind of forget. You kind of look forward with rose-colored glasses, and you kind of forget that things remain difficult. But I don't know. You kind of pick your poison, I suppose, in life.
Yeah. It is a giving thing. I don't want it to sound like I'm not grateful.
No. It's not what I'm implying at all. I was just kind of musing.
Yeah, it is. I do feel like there's rose-colored glasses. Absolutely. Like there's still hardships, and you're still gonna have different things that you're gonna have to learn to navigate through.
What's your name again?
Graciana.
Graciana. Is there anything else you want to say to the people of the computer before we go?
You guys should read Billions and Billions. It's a really fun book.
Billions and Billions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Graciana. You have a good rest of the night.
You too, Lyle. Talk to you again someday.
Bye, Graciana.
Bye.
All right, let's look this up. Billions and Billions. What is this? Billions and Billions. Oh, it's a book by Carl Sagan. Billions and Billions. Thoughts on life and death at the brink of the millennium. No, I'm not reading this. You know what? Look, we had a good run with existentialist thought, and I'm coming back. I'm joining the living, dude. I'm joining the living. Sorry, not to shit on this person's book recommendation, but I'm not reading this book. I'm not reading Sisyphus. I'm reading the fucking Cat in the Hat. I'm reading I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to join the living. You know? How do you do that? How do you rejoin the living? You fucking play kickball. You get really into competitive Super Smash Brothers, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm gonna join the living, like, once more. That's my goal. But thank you. Crap, I forget what the person who I just talked to's name was because it was quite elegant. But I appreciate them sharing their life. Was it Caseyana? Let me ask the Twitch chat. Is it Caseyana, right? Caseyana? I don't know. Maybe someone said to read the Lorax. Graciana. Okay, that was close. Graciana. Thank you very much, Graciana. Hello?
Hello.
Hi there. What is your name?
My name is Jonathan.
Jonathan. What's going on, Jonathan? How is life?
Pretty good, man. I'm kind of hanging out. I'm working from home. I'm just kind of fucking around right now, I guess. I had some free time. It's funny. I don't know. I called and don't actually. I mean, things are all right, I guess. I've been busy. I've been traveling a bunch.
Good.
Yeah.
I just to make it clear, your life, I guess the listeners, your life does not have to be on the brink of collapse for you to call into this show.
Yeah.
In fact, I would prefer. You know what? I know I feel bad about this. It feels selfish, but like I love doing the outside version of this show so much because it's like I just like chatting with people. You know, like I feel like I'm not equipped anymore to help folks whose life is on the brink of collapse, because I'm also feel like I'm in a dire state all the time, and it's actually it's nice to I just like chatting with people. I really do. Like I'm not I've fucking complained about this so many times, but like I like just chatting with folks.
Yeah,
you know? So I'm happy to just chat. You do not need to be your life does not need to be on the brink of collapse for us to just chat.
Sick. Cool. I'm glad to hear it, because I think there was a time long ago when I was in very dire straits, but I've been to real therapy, and I have normal things happening now, and it's kind of chill now. You know, I would
love to hear how you got your life out of dire straits and how things have come to be chill.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so I went to school in Florida, where I went to school for engineering, and that's how shit went awful. And, you know, eventually you graduate, and God willing, you get a job. So I did, and that one sucked. And so eventually started going to therapy to cope with all of that, and then eventually got a new job, moved across the country. I moved in with some buddies from college, and I started working a way chiller job, and I started to, you know, pay off debt, I guess, and I found hobbies. So I spend all my time when, you know, I mean, I work a lot, but like I spend a lot of time, you know, fucking doing things like I play dodgeball for fun, and that shit rocks. And I make mead and cider also for fun and to drink with my friends. It's been, I don't know, I spent a good amount of time in therapy, some time on and then off of antidepressants, and I don't know, now I'm just kind of hanging out. I had yogurt for breakfast. It was all right. I don't know.
Which antidepressants were you rocking with? I've recently gotten on the antidepressant train. Which ones have you been rocking with?
So I was lucky enough. They put you on Lexapro first, and that worked for me. So I stuck with it for a little while, and that was pretty nice. I was on that for a little over a year and a half. How long does it take?
Because I know that like the psychiatrist is like, okay, now just so you know, the first 3 weeks of this, you are going to want to kill yourself every day, but that'll go away. That's what they always say.
Yeah, and so, I don't think my psychiatrist put it quite so bluntly, but what he said was, for the first like 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's gonna feel odd, is what he said. And I was like, can you elaborate? And he's like, it's different for everyone, but it's going to be a little weird. Just stick with it. I was like, okay, man, sure. And so, yeah, it was like 2, 3, I think 4 weeks. I want to say it was like after the third or fourth week was when I started being able to like get out of bed regularly and like without as much difficulty. You know, stopped wanting to kill myself, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of like, yeah, I want to say that I felt like I was like properly in full swing after like a month and a half. And then just like, it's one of those things that like, yeah, the antidepressants aren't like, they're not the fixer. They just kind of make it easier for you to make the life changes that you probably need to make so that your life, so that you can make your own life better.
What were the like? Okay, so you yeah. Okay, that's how it works. I think, right? Is like you, because it's when your brain is like attacking you, you're like, oh, I'm too weak to like do the things I need to do to externally change the circumstances of my life and shit. Right, and so
Yeah,
they kind of
100%.
get you to the point where you're like, all right, I feel like I can actually like do things. So once you
Yeah, I
got to
feel
the
like I
point
can
where
actually-
you got, yeah, so once you get to the point where you can actually do things, what were you doing that kind of changed your circumstances?
I was like just going out more, not like going out to like bars, and I mean, I guess I did that too, but like I was just like getting out of the house a little more. You know, I was like fucking taking out my garbage and like brushing my teeth. You know, I just started like, you know, I signed up for a recreational sports league, you know, like just like exercising a little more and like cooked a little more. And it's like, it sounds like a lot to start. I didn't do all those things at the same time. Obviously, it was like, I think I started with just taking out my garbage and like doing laundry more frequently. And then I was like, okay, well, eventually that became part of my routine. I was like, okay, well, now I think I can add a little more to this plate. And so I started, you know, going on walks, you know, seeing people more often. I started applying to jobs, and I quit the job that was making me want to kill myself. Things like that, you know, it was just like, just steadily adding a little bit more to the plate as I felt like I was able to eat them, you know?
Mm. And where did you move? Did you say?
I moved from Orlando to New England. So I live like in the Boston metro. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And what do you know? When did you move to Boston?
God, 3.5 years ago now.
And was it tough when you first made the move?
The thing that was tough. So I moved in the winter, so that kind of sucked. But I think more than anything was that like I didn't have a lease yet. I moved here and I was just like bouncing around Airbnbs for like 6 months until I actually like was able to live somewhere. You know?
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough because I wasn't able to. So I had a roommate in Orlando whom I left, and I wasn't able to break my lease because it would have been too expensive. But he wasn't helping me find a sublease, so I was just like actually absolutely broke, paying 2 rents for like 4 or 5 months until the other lease ended and I could get on a new one and stop paying double rent. Yeah. But aside from that, like the social was easy a little bit because like I had a couple friends that lived here. It was kind of part of why this was a city that I had in mind. I mean, like I had a couple buddies from college who were the guys who told me to move. They're like, hey, I think I visited them. We linked up for a wedding sometime in the summer, and you know, we were just hanging out, like having a few drinks. And eventually, I was just like drunkenly, I'd been, you know, exploring Boston for a few days. I was like, guys, I should live here. And, you know, everybody like laughs, ha ha ha, sure. And then like 3 months later, they called me and they're like, hey man, so about you moving here, we want another roommate. Fuck it, you've got 8 months to figure it out. And I was like, oh shit, okay, that's enough time. And so, you know, I fucking updated my resume and I got on LinkedIn and stuff, and I figured it out. I guess I moved too early because obviously their lease wasn't up until June or whatever, and so I moved in November. But yeah. I mean, I had friends. I have some family in the general region. Like I got family in like Connecticut and New Hampshire and stuff. So it's like, you know, I could make the trek out for those things if I needed them. It was weird, but and I guess it was hard. But like at no point did it ever feel like it really sucked. I think this is a pretty cool town. You know, like the people are nice and the food is really good. So I'm hanging. You know.
Pretty good. What is the job that you do out there?
I'm an engineer. I design motion sensors. The company I work for, they do like bathroom appliances. So I design like the faucet sensors.
Oh, okay. Well, I gotta tell you something. You're doing a fucking shitty job because every time I use a public bathroom, those motherfuckers are not recognizing my hands, and I'm walking out of here with, you know, no soap, no dryer, no nothing. So, you know, you gotta. I don't know what's going on at big bathroom motion sensors, but you got to make some changes on the inside, man, because you guys aren't doing a good job.
Dude, I hear you, man. I mean, this wasn't even a job that I knew existed until it was my job, and now I just got here. I was like, how the fuck does this even work? You know? Right. So yeah, I mean, I haven't been here long enough for you to have ever used one of my sensors. I don't think. I have one sensor on the market right now, and it's a water bottle filler. But aside from that, like, yeah, we're still in the R&D phase for everything else. It's a weird job. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, go ahead, you know, leave me a shitty Yelp review, and we'll see if we can't get your faucets replaced.
Every time I walk out of an airport bathroom with wet hands, I'm gonna be like, fucking Jonathan.
Yeah, man, dude, yeah, fuck that guy, Jonathan. No, man, he blew it.
That's cool though. That's cool. It sounds like you have a good thing going on. Sounds like, are you still living with those two guys?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, one of them's moving out, but we got another guy coming in. It's hanging. We're chilling. We've been living in this apartment basically. This is the apartment that I moved into. It's been 3 years, and I'm not going anywhere. It's just me, the boys, and a cat. It's been nice.
How old are you guys? What's the age range of the boys?
We're 28, 29.
Cool. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's been solid. Yeah. I don't know. Now we're just like, we've kind of like exited the stage of getting used to each other, and now we're just kind of, I don't know, we're fucking around and like just playing sports, I guess. You know, we had a St. Patty's Day party. That was one thing. Is like St. Patrick's Day is not a thing that people give much of a shit about in Florida, at least not in my experience. So I moved here, and it's like, oh no, you guys do this shit up. This is real. Dude, you drink a lot. Actually, that's one thing I would say. So when I was on my antidepressants, you know, like, I wouldn't say I like to go crazy when I drink, but I like to have a few drinks, you know?
Sure.
I've never been... I have blacked out in my life 4 times, and all of 4 of those times were while I was on antidepressants.
Yeah, they do tend to amplify the effects of, like, drugs and alcohol.
Dude, it was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. I mean, like, it wasn't like, oh, I had 5 or 6 drinks. It's like, no, I'm on beer number 4, and I don't remember yesterday anymore. You know, like, so yeah, some crazy shit happened while I was on antidepressants, and eventually I was just like, I don't know, I'm not gonna stop drinking, but I guess I can't. I guess I have to. You know, so that was a weird stage. You know.
Did you get what was I gonna say? Did you get into any trouble when you blacked out? Like, did you fuck yourself up, or was it typically pretty controlled blackout?
I would say the weirdest thing that happened to me while I was on antidepressants blacking out was that I I went to a birthday like travel day. We got an Airbnb in like Pensacola, Florida, and I blacked out, and I learned that I had like slept with a girl while I was fully blacked out the first night. And that was like, I guess it was fine. It was like a long weekend, and clearly nobody felt weird about it. I felt a little weird because these were all new people to me. Like, I didn't know them that well. So I woke up after the first night, and everybody was being like super chummy with me and super like cool and like friendly. Like, we had clearly made great memories, except I couldn't remember fucking any of them.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, great. Now I'm with all these strangers, and they're being extra nice to me, and also I guess I'm sleeping with one of them. And I was like, okay, well, we're gonna relax a little bit, and I'm gonna remember tonight. It was like a 2 or 3 day weekend. So the second night happens, and it happens again. The exact same thing, like fully blacked out. Apparently slept with the same girl, and apparently everybody had a blast, and we're all good friends now. And so I was just like, I was like flabbergasted. I was like, okay, this is cool, I guess. So that weekend ends, and I go home, and I'm like, okay, cool. Well, now I have new friends, I think. And also, there's a girl I guess I'm interested in. I should probably take her out on like a proper date and like, see how that goes. So I do. And we have a couple glasses of wine at dinner, and it fucking happens again. And so I've been like, apparently I've known this girl for a while, and I've apparently slept with her a number of times, and I have forgotten every single time of it. And at that point, I was just done. I was like, fuck this. This sucks. You know what? I think I'm good. I'm good on Gainesville. I'm gonna stop doing whatever the fuck this is. And so, yeah, I think that was my inciting event. I stopped talking to that girl, and I just stopped drinking for a while until I was off the antidepressants. It was a fucking bummer.
That's interesting. I've never blacked out to the point where like I don't remember stuff. Like that's an interesting phenomenon. Like I don't know what that's like.
I remember like screenshots.
Sure.
I have a couple glimpses. They're in there somewhere. And I could recall them to the best of my ability. Like if I recalled them, I could get a little bit. It was one of those things like I could wake up having known that I had done that, right? But yeah, it was bizarre, and I've never had that experience since. Like, even this past St. Patrick's Day, I mean, I had a fair amount to drink, it's St. Patrick's Day, but I was like I remember it all. It's all in here. So yeah, I will say it's bizarre. It's comforting when somebody tells you, hey man, you were pretty drunk. Wasn't that fun? And like, there's no bad news. So like at the very least that was comforting, but it's bizarre and not very like, I don't know. It doesn't feel good. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Jonathan, thanks for sharing your life story. This was cool. It's good to. I always like a story of someone turning their life around. It gives hope to the people. So, thanks for giving hope to the people. You should do a better job at making the sensors in the bathrooms work. But other than that,
I'm doing my best, man.
Other than that, you're doing pretty good.
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to say to the people at the computer before we go, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if anybody's thinking of, I guess turning your life around or whatever, just find something you think is cool and do it. Just like be somewhere regularly. Be at be at a sport, be at the mall, be at a coffee shop. Just be somewhere. You'll meet people, and they'll probably help you through it. It's not easy, but it is a little simple.
Hey, take care, Jonathan. Good luck.
Yeah, man. You too.
I do agree with that. That's good. Good advice. That's good advice. I mean, that is kind of the secret, I think, to community is just showing up regularly somewhere. You kind of want to try to accomplish big things in one fell swoop, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, fuck, you got to put in reps to fucking do anything. That was Jonathan. This was the Therapy Gecko podcast. Thank you all very much for listening. Thank you to everyone who, by the way, came out to my trash art event. If you still want to come see it, it's on display at the Kaleidoscope Gallery, 267 Irving Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. It's on display, I think, until the 22nd, if you want to come see my trash. Thank you to everyone who came to that event. That was fun. I want to do more shit like that. I don't know what exactly. I don't know where exactly. Probably still in New York, but, you know, I'll be doing more shit like that, so stay tuned. Thank you all very much. I shall return soon with more podcasts of talking to people and learning about life by talking to people. I've been a Gecko, and this has been the Therapy Gecko podcast. Thank you all for listening. Hello, folks. It's Lyle here. That's the end of this episode, but get this. I'm releasing a bonus episode this week. That's right, an entire extra hour of the podcast that you can listen to by becoming a premium member of Therapy Gecko over at therapygecko.supercast.com. Supercast subscribers get access to bonus episodes. They get a completely ad-free podcast feed of the regular show. They get recordings from my live shows, members-only streams, and they help support my ability to continue doing this podcast. So here's a clip from this week's members-only bonus episode.
You guys would probably love each other. Like, not in like you guys should get married and live this long life out, but more like you guys should bang it out and, you know, get off my back a little bit.
That was nice of you, by the way, to set up your ex-wife with your boss.
Yeah, like, bygones are bygones. We're totally cool. We have a better relationship now than we ever did at any point in our marriage.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah, it works out well. But she got pregnant within 2 weeks of even meeting him. But he can't stand her, and I understand it.
If you want to hear this full conversation, you can sign up to become a premium member at therapygecko.supercast.com or find the link in the episode description. That's therapygecko.supercast.com. All right, I have nothing else to say.